The day you lend a friend money isn't the day you help them. It's the day you buy a seat at a table you'll never be allowed to leave. It was $8,000. You remember the exact number because he didn't. He rounded it. Like 7, 8 grand, Dominic said, sitting on your couch with the controller in his hands, not looking at you, saying it the way you say a thing you've already decided someone will agree to. You've known him 19 years. You met on a bus. You shared worse apartments than either of you will admit to your kids. So when he said 7, 8 grand, you heard 19 years, and you said yes before you did any math at all. Here's what nobody tells you about lending money to someone you love. The moment the money leaves your account, it doesn't disappear. It moves to the middle of the room, and it sits there, and it never gets up again. You transferred it that night, no contract. A contract felt like an insult, and the insult felt more expensive than the 8 grand. You typed whenever, no rush, into the transfer note, and you meant it. And that sentence is the most expensive thing you have ever written. Because no rush to you meant I trust you. No rush to him meant this doesn't count yet. The first week, nothing changes, and you congratulate yourself for that. See, nothing's different. He texts you a meme at midnight like always. You send back the usual garbage. The money is in the room, but you've both agreed not to look at it. The second week, he goes quiet. Not cold, quiet. He takes an hour to answer where he used to take a minute. You tell yourself he's busy. You're not wrong. He is busy. He's busy doing the thing every borrower eventually does, which is slowly, without deciding to, starting to resent the person he owes. Because you can't feel grateful and watched at the same time. And the second he took your money, he started feeling watched by you, even when you weren't watching. Because people don't hate owing you money. They hate that you remember. Now here's the part where you meet the other one. Because this story has two friends in it, and you need both to understand what money is actually measuring. His name is Reggie. Reggie is the friend you don't think about, which is the whole point of Reggie. 4 years ago, your car died in a parking garage, and you were $300 short on the tow and the repair. And Reggie covered it and waved you off, and genuinely, to this day, does not remember doing it. You brought it up once to thank him again, and he looked at you blank. He'd filed it under nothing. That's who Reggie is. Hold on to him. You'll need him at the end. Month 2. Dominic pays you back the first $800. And this is the moment that fools you, so pay attention. He doesn't just send it. He sends it, and then he tells you about it. He tells you at dinner, in front of 2 other people, loud enough for the table. I'm getting you back, don't worry. First chunk already hit. And you feel relief. And the relief is real, and that's the trap. Because that payment wasn't for you. It was a performance of a payment, aimed at the room. And the $800 was just the ticket price of looking like a man who pays his debts. You didn't get repaid. You got used as a prop in a story he's telling about himself. And that's the thing about generosity. The moment you give it, it stops being a gift and quietly becomes the rent you're now expected to keep paying. Then the truck. You knew it was coming, the way you know weather. Dominic, who owes you 8 grand minus 800, buys a truck. Not a work truck, a statement. He drives it to your place, first thing, wants you to come out and look, slaps the hood the way men slap the thing that's actually slapping them. And you stand in your own driveway doing the math you wish you couldn't do. You know his income. You know the truck. The truck is not a thing he can carry. The truck is a thing that will carry him for about 5 months before it starts carrying him under. And you understand, standing there, that this was never about a truck. A borrower who buys a toy in front of the person he owes is not being reckless. He is buying back the 2 inches he thinks he lost the day he asked you for help. That's the thing money exposes that nothing else will. He didn't need the truck. He needed you to see him not needing you. You don't say anything about it. What are you going to say? That's the trap of being the lender. The debt gags you. You can't tell your oldest friend he's an idiot, because the second you open your mouth about his spending, you're not a friend anymore. You're a creditor, and you both hear it. So you swallow it. You say the truck's clean. He watches your face to see if it's enough. It isn't, but you nod like it is, and it spreads. This is the part no one warns you about, how it stops being about the two of you. His girlfriend gets a little cool with you, and you can't figure out why until you can. He's been telling it his way. In his version, you're the guy holding something over him. In his version, you bring it up all the time. You have never once brought it up. Doesn't matter. He needed a reason to feel small around you, and he keeps reminding me is a cleaner story than I never paid him back. So that's the story he tells, and people believe the version that lets everyone off the hook. Then he stops mentioning it at all, and somehow that's worse. 6 months in, the debt has become a thing you both step around like furniture in a dark room. You know where it is, he knows where it is. Neither of you turns on the light. You start to notice you're the one softening things now. You're the one saying, no rush again, unprompted, because the silence has gotten so loud that you would rather forgive the money than keep feeling it in the room. And he lets you. Of course he lets you, because a boundary feels like a betrayal to the person who was counting on you never having one. And the group thins without anyone announcing it. A backyard invite that used to be automatic comes late now, or not at all. A running joke you were always part of keeps going in a thread you're quietly no longer added to. Nobody voted you out. It's softer than that, and worse. People just drift toward the version of the story that cost them the least. And the version that cost them the least is the one where you're the problem. Because taking the side of the man who lent the money means admitting the man who borrowed it might be in the wrong. And nobody wants to audit a friend over dinner. So they don't. They just get busy. You start rehearsing defenses for a trial that never officially convened, explanations nobody asked to hear, and you learn the loneliest arithmetic there is. You can be the one who was owed and still somehow end up the one who pays. So you decide to just eat it. You tell yourself $8,000 is cheap for keeping a 19-year friendship, and that's almost wise. That's almost the right answer, except it isn't. Because you don't get to choose to forgive a debt the other person has already decided doesn't exist. You can only forgive a thing he still feels he owes. And he doesn't. Not anymore. He rewrote it. In his ledger, it's closed. In yours, it's open. And two people can't stay friends across a gap only one of them can see. It ends at a barbecue, because these things always end somewhere with paper plates. Somebody's backyard. A dozen people, the smell of somebody burning good meat out of confidence. You're not even near Dominic. You're across the yard, and you hear him, a few drinks in, telling the story of the truck to a group of guys. And one of them, half joking, says, "Didn't you borrow that off this guy?" and points a rib at you. And the yard doesn't go silent all at once. That's not how it goes. A couple people keep talking, then trail off when they feel it. And Dominic looks at you across the grass, and there's no grin, none of the old armor, just something tired and mean and true. And he says it quiet, almost gently, which is what makes it land. You keep count, huh? 4 words, not a question, an accusation dressed as a joke. And the whole yard hears the accusation and not the joke. And you realize you've lost. You lost the second the money left your account. Everything after was just the length of the fall. You didn't lend a friend $8,000. You handed him a scoreboard and then spent a year being blamed for the fact that he kept looking at it. You leave early. Nobody fights you on it. That's the loneliest part, always. How easy you are to let leave. You're at your car when you hear gravel behind you, and it's not Dominic. And you already know that. It's Reggie. Reggie who covered your toe 4 years ago and forgot he did it. He doesn't mention what just happened. He just stands there for a second. And then he says the thing that rearranges everything. He says, "You know he asked me first, right? Back before you." I said no. And you stare at him, because in 19 years, you never knew that. And Reggie shrugs, not proud, almost sad, and says, "I've lost friends to yes. I wasn't losing you to it too." And there it is, the whole thing, in one sentence, from the one man who never sat at the table because he refused to buy a seat. Reggie didn't say no because he was cheap. He said no because he already knew what you just paid $8,000 to learn, that the fastest way to lose someone is to lend them enough to make them feel it. You look back at the yard. Dominic's got the crowd again, hood slapping some story, buying back inches. And you understand you're not going to get repaid, and you never were. And the $8,000 was gone the night you called it no rush. But you're standing in a parking lot next to the one friend who kept his money in his pocket and kept you instead. Because the friend who asks to borrow is telling you what he wants, and the friend who quietly says no is telling you what he's protecting. You get in your car. You don't drive off yet. You sit there with the engine off, the way you sit when a thing you can't unlearn has just finished teaching you. And you take out your phone and you look at that transfer from 19 months ago. Whenever, no rush. And for the first time, you read it correctly. It was never a loan. It was the price of finding out. And it was worth exactly $8,000 because it told you which of the two men in that yard was the friend. And it only took your money to say it out loud.